All right, Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Ruach Kodash. I like to say double honors to my teachers, the apostles, the bishops, elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom and salutations to the elect that's out there preaching His word in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Shaquat, and I'm one of the brothers from the branch of Great Millstone, Montreal. I'm back with another lesson, and this lesson that I'm going to be getting into today is going to be dealing with health, right? And health is something that's very important, especially in this day and age, that we are living in, because um, as you can tell, there's a vibration that's on the earth right now, and that vibration is pretty much to get fit. They there's an emphasis on that. Fitness, personal trainers. That's a trending topic as of late, and that's spiritual. Because of the corruption that the earth is in, right? And the current condition of the earth uh, is pretty much the cause of that, right? And obviously, we know that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, he's at fault. He's the reason, for the pollution of the earth, the polluted foods, the polluted water, the polluted air, um, even, you know, he went as far as polluting people's emotions, man, and how people deal with their emotions, right? Why do I say that? The reason why I say that is because we have what you call social media, right? And social media is, whether you like to believe it or not, is actually a weapon that the so-called white man uses to his advantage. Um, because social media is not healthy. It's not healthy at all, but it's beneficial, right? If used in moderation, right? Then the reason why I emphasize that it's not healthy is because you would be doom scrolling. There's something known as doom scrolling where uh, you're laying down and you just scroll for countless of hours, which does, I'm sure brothers don't really do that. That's really something for the people of the world, right? But to be able to scroll and have your mind locked in to the internet for hours is insane, you know? Um, it it definitely affects, you know, um, your system, your body, man. And you being in tune with reality, you know, uh, it has a major effect on you, man. All right. But with that being said, we have something that's very powerful that can help us combat that, and that's the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Um, all right. So this lesson was pretty much inspired by something that was mentioned by the brother Napash, which was a city in Japan named Okinawa. Okinawa, right? I'm just gonna jump straight into it, just getting straight to the point. I put in Google the people of Okinawa, Japan, reasons for living long, right? Because this city is notorious for that, for pretty much cultivating a healthy and long living people. All right, so this is the overview. It says the people of Okinawa, Japan, are famous for having one of the highest life expectancies and largest uh, con- concentrations of select centenarians. Slovakia. Let's see if that was- and I remember I've heard that word before. Center Centuranians, right? Uh, yeah, I heard that word before. I know it means like people that live over 100 or live to be 100, something like that. I remember the brother saying that. Centenaire. So French word, centenarians. In the world, and I don't speak French. It says a phenomenon often attributed to a combination of distinct diet, lifestyle, and social factors. As one of the world's original blue zones, their longevity is rooted in a culture that balances purpose, community, and mindful consumptions. Right. So we're gonna get into detail. I'm gonna get into detail about this place in Japan. Uh, and those the details pretty much gonna highlight each and every aspect of how uh their diet was, or how their lifestyle was, or how their social factors, you know, details of how that was. But first I'm gonna get a precept, because the scriptures encourage this sort of lifestyle, right? And if Esau Edom, the man that's in power currently, if he applied the scriptures, for one, we wouldn't have the problems that we're having now. But that's the other thing, right? He's the wicked. He's known as the wicked. Um, and it's not in him to do right. So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 14. It says, "Better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body." Right. So it's better to have nothing, but be strong and sound in body, be healthy, rather than being a rich man that is constantly afflicted, that's constantly sick, or constantly has ailments, and you constantly got to take pills for this, for your back, for your joints, and so on and so forth, man. That life is not worth living. Although you have a lot of money, you can't really enjoy that money to the extent that you could, because you're most likely spending that money on what, trying to be healthy, right? But this is something that's important, right? To be healthy as best as you can, to eat right, to make sure that your environment is a positive one, you know because scriptures speak about depression too, which is a demon, right? And being down, being negative, that's not a good thing, because that has an effect on you, right? um it says, verse 15, it says, "Health and good estate of body are above gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth." There is no riches about above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. That's right. So nothing, you can't buy a healthy body and a healthy mind. Those are things that you have to develop and build up yourself. You can't just purchase it. And that's what makes it so special. Um, it says verse 17, death is better than a bitter life or continual stroke. That's right. Delicates poured upon a mouth shut up are as messes of meat set upon a grave. Let's get that in the GNT. So that same verse, Surah 30 and verse 18. The finest foods, the finest food means nothing if you are too sick to eat it. It might as well be offered to an idol. But off there's no point in offering food to an idol it cannot eat or smell it. It is just the same with someone whom the Lord has afflicted, man. Yeah, because imagine being sick and you can't really eat pleasurable foods, right? And that's another thing too, right? Understanding balance of when to eat pleasurable foods. What season to eat pleasurable foods, man. Because you have to be moderate in that as well. You can't always be eating for satisfaction. And what I mean by that is you can't always be eating foods um that taste good all the time. Like pizza. You can't be eating pizza all the time. Pizza and hamburgers, but that's what the American lifestyle promotes, right? But because you got to deal with the bitters too. Your body needs that. Your body needs that balance. You have to eat some salad. You have to eat some bitters, man. Some fruits, some vegetables, right? Um, it says I'm gonna continue on in the GNT verse 20. It says he looks at his food and sighs like a castrated man a woman, hugging a young woman, man. So that's what it is, man. To be sick and not able to enjoy the um the the luxuries of food, because that's one thing the Lord set up your body to eat. But then if you can't really eat because you're always sick, you always have to eat one thing. That's not fun. Um, so yeah, let's go back to the people of Okinawa. It says the first bullet point. It says I I guy. It says a sense of purpose. Okinawians often have a strong sense of purpose in life, known as Ikigai. If I'm pronouncing that right. It says no retirement. Many elderly Okinawians continue working or engaging in meaningful activities such as gardening or volunteering. No retirement, no place where you're taken care of and you're just sitting there and laying there, right? Because that's spiritual, because the Lord said that He made the moving creatures. The human body is programmed or created to move no matter what age. From young to elders, you're supposed to move. Some way, somehow. Even if it's something as simple as walking. You know, um, many elderly Okinawans continue working or engaging in meaningful activities such as gardening or volunteering well into their 90s and hundreds. point two, motivation. This reason to get up in the morning provides mental, emotional, and social resilience, lowering stress and improving overall health. All right. Mm, So, yeah, movement is very important. I'm gonna get one precept and I'm gonna close it off there, and this will be a part one to this, obviously. Try to keep it around 15 minutes. Um, Lord willing, of course. Yep, Genesis 1 and 20. And the Most High said, and Elohim said, which Elohim means powers, and that's what that word God in Genesis 1 um, is really talking about. It's not God as in singular, it's powers, because there was more than one mm, powers or angels. It was the angels that were pretty much there during the creation, Yahweh Shai and elect the angels, the Lord and the angels. And the Elohim said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament. There you go. So part of we are creatures, humans are creatures, right? So we were created then as well, right? Um, but to specify, um, later on we were given the breath of life was given to Adam specifically, right? And he became a living soul, like the scriptures say. But creatures and humans were made already, right? As I just read. But the point being is that they were moving creatures, a moving creature, meaning we're not made to be stationary. We're made to move around and do things, right? Just like a car. If a car sits for too long, it's gonna it's gonna break down, man. You have to move it. You have to move around. You have to drive the car. You have to turn on the engine. It has to, you know, uh, the spark plugs have to spark. The tires have to, you know, move, man. But that's a similar thing with the human body, right? And that's the first point with the people of Okinawa. It says they had a sense of purpose. They didn't retire and lay in a bed or sit on a chair where they just stayed still, right, for the majority of the time. But they had no such thing as retirement because they were all constantly doing something, even at an old age. They were either gardening or volunteering, which is amazing. All right. Um, so I'm gonna end it off there. Lord willing, I'll be back with another part. I like to say, call Halayim La Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Ruchakadash. Once again, double honors to my teachers, to apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. And until next time, shalom and salutations to the elect.